Morning, grade 5. This is Mr. Boolsen calling in. Just making my first language arts video here for you. And we're getting close to the end of our poetry unit, so I just wanted to go over some literary devices with you. So we're going to do about 3 a day or 2 a day, depending, and try and cluster them around groups that seem to have similarities between them, so they're kind of easier to learn. So yeah, we'll just move on. And so today we're dealing with assonance, alliteration, and consonance. And so, yeah, we'll just proceed through here. So assonance takes place when two or more words close to one another repeat the same vowel sound, but start with different consonant sounds. Assonance is used to add rhythm to poetry. Example, men sell the wedding bells. Or here, we have another picture here. Patience always pays. So you see that they repeat the same vowel. So vowels, as we'll see, well, yeah, vowels are anything that's not a consonant, right? So, yeah, there's a few vowels in particular. So yeah, we just when the vowels repeat. So that's what assonance is. And so here we have another one, and you see that there's underlined, the pointer here, yeah. See, there's underlined things. So he gives, his, and then so these are kind of they're in assonance with each other, right? So the I and the I, and you have harness and bells, and the in both of them kind of are in assonance with each other. And you have only and the sweep, so the E, and the easy, and the downy, and the lonely, and the deep, right? And then here again you have the but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So yeah. So you see how they use these, they repeat these letters again and again, or these sounds. It's actually less about the letters and more about the sound it makes. So yeah, you can see out here a Y, which is lonely, goes with deep, so it's also an E sound, right? But they're different letters, but the same sound. So it's actually more focused on the vowel sound than the letters. So it's repeating the sound is what's important. So now we're going to deal with alliteration. Alliteration is something you see all the time, like Coca-Cola or PayPal. It's a literary device that involves a series of closely connected vowels or closely connected words at the start, all starting with the same consonant sound. Consonants are all letters that are not vowels. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U plus Y. So Y is sometimes a vowel because it can sometimes be a Y, or it can be an E, right? So Y is more of a consonant, and E is a vowel. So often these can be used in tongue twisters, and we talked about that before the March break. And these are not only used in poetry, but in everyday life, just like Coca-Cola or PayPal. You see there's two words in close connection with each other that begin with the same letter. So you have the Coca-Cola and PayPal. So you have that same sound, right? PayPal. You see, like here, it says the fair breeze blew, the white foam flew. And so that's an alliteration. The F and the F, and the B and the B, and the furrowed followed free. And we were the first that ever burst. So the we were. It's kind of just a natural one. And here's a little, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping. And you see the alliteration sometimes makes things sound exciting a bit and gives a bit of rhythm. So while I nodded, nearly napping, you have that same sound come up again and again. Now, alliterations are actually a form of consonants because, right, alliteration is dealing with consonant letters at the beginning of words, right? So it has to be consonant sounds. It's not, you can't use vowels with alliteration. So and, all, those would be, that's more assonance. And consonants, just like assonance deals with vowels, consonance is dealing with consonant sounds. And so consonance is basically the same as assonance, except that it's focused on consonant sounds. So repeated consonant sounds. So and so consonants are most of the letters. And so you see here, Yeah, and these can be, unlike alliteration, these can be in any part of the word. It doesn't have to be just at the beginning. So you can have different consonants that are repeated again and again. So you can see it can be at the beginning of the word, right? On scrolls of silver, snowy sentences, right? That's at the beginning of the word, just like that's an alliteration, but it's also a consonant. But here you have some mammals are clammy. So you have that M in the middle, and that's M is a consonant, and yeah, here's a consonant sound that both are having. And see here you get lazy, languid, line, along, and so the L there is actually inside. So it's not the first letter, it's the second letter. And so you can see how consonants is a bit more varied. And it can also, consonants can sometimes be just rhyming, basically, because it can be the last two letters. He struck some hard luck when his grandson Tuck asked him to read. And so you see how they're rhyming. It's at the end of the word. So consonant, and that's also, these are consonants. This is a consonant sound, and so it is a consonant as well as a rhyme. And yeah, you can see that alliteration is just a special case of consonants where the repetition occurs at the stressed part of the word. And consonants is the repetition of consonant words in closely adjacent or connected words. So it can be anywhere. Yeah, it can be anywhere in it. It has to appear at the stressed part, normally at the beginning. Alliteration is a special case of consonants. So this is the main category really for alliteration. So yeah, that's that. And later this week, I'm going to give you an assignment where you have to come up with your own poem, and you're going to have to include these things. So this today, for our lesson and our homework, you're going to have to write a sentence or 3 sentences, one that uses assonance, one that uses alliteration, and one that uses consonants. And so yeah, I'll show you that I made some words here. So the first one I did was assonance, and so I'll highlight in blue. So the sleek moon cast a bleak shadow upon the sandy dunes. So my assonance here is sleek, right? And bleak. So a sleek moon cast a bleak shadow upon the sandy dunes. And you see how you can actually, you hear that almost. The sleek moon cast a bleak. And you hear the sleek and bleak. Even though they're separated, they're still closely connected, right? They're in the same sentence. And then I have a second one here actually as well. The sleek moon cast a bleak shadow upon the sandy dune. And it actually sounds better when you have it without the dunes, but even with dunes, it still works, right? Because it's inside the word. And this is now almost more of a rhyme, right? But yeah, these so you see that. And then for the next one, I have some alliteration. I kind of went overboard. Most of the time in poetry, when you see alliteration, it isn't this crazy, but you know, it's some fun. So you see several swift sloops swept across the 7 seas in search for spices. So a sloop is a boat, type of ship with sails on the seas. And so yeah, this is just several. So you see the S, 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 and then an S, S. And so there's lots of S's, right? So that's alliteration, using the same stressed part of the word, the stressed consonant again and again. And finally, for the last one here, I have my consonants. So this one says, a slender blade slashed along the flattened planks at a blinding speed. So what letter do you think is actually being repeated here a lot? Now there is some whole sounds that you could even say there's some consonants here as well, or there's some alliteration as well. But there's also a great deal of consonants. And so this L is really what stands out. The slender blade, so the O sound, slashed along the flattened planks at a blinding speed. And so yeah, you see there that that's consonants, that there's a letter that or a consonant that is being you know, you can hear that sound coming up again and again. And so it's a kind of a fun way to add to your to your work. So yeah, in today's assignment, I just want you to create a couple different 3 different sentences. You can do more, and I want you to also underline the parts that you have underlined, or maybe color them differently if you're using a computer. So you can color them with a different font, or not font, different color. Or yeah, you can use the underline feature, or even bold them if you want, to show me where you're actually using the assonance. So that's a good way for me to be able to easily see it, because sometimes when you don't write the poem, it takes a bit more energy to notice the things, because you read it, but your brain naturally just hears that, oh, that's nice, but you don't notice all the details that went into making that nice. And I was reading a great poem the other day that yeah, had that feeling that I read it, and I was like, wow, that's a great poem. And when you start looking at it more and more, you see all these elements. So sometimes it's better to yeah, you need to almost have these pointed out to you to properly see them. So yeah, I would like you to send 3 sentences in, one for assonance, one for alliteration, and one for consonance. And yeah, just show me yeah, what exactly you've had. I'm also going to assign a little poem to read for this week and a few little questions. So yeah, I hope you guys all have had a great Easter, and that you are ready for another short week. Bye-bye for now.